In older age, embrace a touch of coldness. Welcome, everyone, to today's episode. I want to explore a concept I believe is crucial for anyone stepping into their golden years: learning to cultivate a certain coldness, a gentle detachment that safeguards your well-being. You might be asking yourself, isn't it better to stay warm, enthusiastic, and sociable? In many situations, yes. But as we grow older, constantly giving of ourselves, emotionally, socially, physically, can become draining. Our limitless enthusiasm of youth naturally fades, and that's okay. In fact, holding on to a calm, measured coldness can help protect your emotional balance, physical health, and overall sense of self. Aging well isn't just about making it through each day. It's about thriving with peace and purpose in a stage of life that demands thoughtful self-care. In the United States, older adults often face subtle yet persistent social pressure. Whether it's from family, neighbors, religious groups, or casual acquaintances, people may assume that retirement equals unlimited time and energy. You may find others expecting you to always be ready for conversation, favors, or involvement. Of course, kindness and helpfulness are noble traits. But there comes a point when maintaining your peace must take priority. You simply can't give endlessly and expect to stay mentally and emotionally grounded. Sooner or later, you'll feel depleted, and that's when loneliness, fatigue, or a sense of being taken for granted can creep in. Even the most radiant personality needs time to recharge. Remember, even stars burn out if they never rest. By setting clear boundaries and embracing a modest degree of coldness, you give yourself room to breathe and the chance to renew your inner strength. This is how you remain truly generous in the long run, because you're operating from a full cup. Let's start with one particularly important life skill: staying calm in emergencies. Many older adults feel the need to keep up with the pace of younger people, rushing through parking lots, driving too fast, pushing themselves to move quickly, as though they need to prove they still have it. But the truth is, haste often leads to errors. A missed step or sudden turn can cause a fall that's far more dangerous in older age than it ever was in youth. Emergencies can happen to anyone, regardless of age. Your spouse may suddenly feel faint, or the smoke alarm might blare in the middle of the night. In these moments, the wisest course is not panic, but pause. Take a breath. Center yourself. A few seconds of stillness can prevent a situation from getting worse. I remember a story about Mr. Johnson, a 75-year-old retired accountant in Chicago. One day, he locked himself out of his home while his 2-year-old grandson was still inside. In a rush, he tried to jam a spare key into the lock, only to break it. The child began to cry, and Mr. Johnson, growing frantic, scrambled for tools, yelled for help, and peered through windows. But his efforts, though well-intentioned, were too frantic to be effective. Eventually, a neighbor called 911, and the police arrived to open the window safely. If Mr. Johnson had taken just a few extra moments to breathe and assess calmly, the key might not have snapped, and his grandson might have avoided the fear and confusion that followed. In many stressful situations, we tend to blow the crisis out of proportion in our minds. That mental exaggeration often leads us to act recklessly. But when we practice a bit of coldness, a pause, a breath, a moment of mental clarity, we give ourselves the chance to respond with wisdom instead of panic. Next, let's address the idea of dealing with toxic or negative people as you age. Maybe there are folks you knew from years back, individuals who never seemed genuinely supportive, or who once cheated you in a business deal, or who always loved to gossip and drag others down. When you retire, you might find yourself crossing paths with such people again. Maybe at church gatherings, community centers, senior socials, or just out in the neighborhood. It's natural to want to be polite, but if you notice that their presence continuously makes you uncomfortable or anxious, it's wise to keep a healthy distance. While younger folks can sometimes bounce back easily from negative encounters, older adults have to be more cautious about anything that disturbs their peace. Being cold in such instances isn't rude, it's a shield. By remaining courteously distant, you preserve your emotional energy. You don't have to engage in every conversation or trade small talk with those who made your life difficult. You've earned the right to choose who you interact with. You're not obliged to please everyone. In this spirit, it's also essential to choose carefully where you invest your time socially. Americans, especially in large cities and suburbs, often have countless opportunities for social events, luncheons, reunions, volunteering, and so on. That's wonderful in moderation, but as you grow older, you may feel the subtle pressure to go to every class reunion, every new club meeting, or to take up every new hobby. However, too many commitments can lead to burnout. Some gatherings turn into a competition of who's more successful or who has the better retirement plan. Others can be breeding grounds for scams, where smooth-talking individuals try to sell you timeshares, questionable financial plans, or miracle cures. Consider being more selective with what you say yes to. If a particular event draws people you genuinely enjoy or sparks a real passion in you, go for it. But if it's going to be a room filled with empty boasting or cunning sales pitches, perhaps you're better off enjoying a peaceful day at home, gardening, reading, or taking a light walk with a dear friend. Reducing superficial social interactions leaves space for deeper, more nourishing relationships. A perfect example of how a bit of coldness can actually enrich your life. Now let's talk about family, particularly adult children. Once the kids have grown up, married, or moved out, it's natural for parents, especially those of us who have retired or have more free time, to want to guide and assist. Maybe you have opinions on their spouse, their parenting style, or how they handle money. While your experience can be immensely valuable, giving unsolicited advice too forcefully might backfire. The best approach to parenting adult children often involves a bit of detachment. Observe from a distance. Offer gentle suggestions if they explicitly ask, but otherwise, let them learn through their own experiences. Many older parents become enmeshed in everyday drama, especially if they help babysit the grandchildren or share a household. If you see conflict arising between your son and daughter-in-law, it can be tempting to step in and fix everything, but more often than not, it creates new tensions. Sometimes, children need to stumble, even fail, in order to grow. Being cold here doesn't mean being unloving. It means giving them the space to develop their own solutions. If things become truly dire, you can always step in with guidance, but letting them navigate smaller hiccups can strengthen their own problem-solving skills and preserve your own emotional bandwidth. One of my favorite quotes is, "Give up the glamorous illusions and hold close just a handful of true friends." That sentiment points to the fact that in our later years, we don't need vast circles of acquaintances. We need a small circle of folks we truly trust. The bigger the group, the higher the chance of drama, gossip, or misunderstandings, especially in large senior communities or assisted living facilities. It's easy to get sucked into social whirlpools where everyone knows everyone's business. If you can maintain a smaller, more intimate circle, you'll likely find deeper connections. And remember, true friendship never demands constant performance. It doesn't ask you to exhaust yourself by pleasing others or worry about every single word that comes out of your mouth. Trust is comforting, allowing you to be yourself without fear of judgment or exploitation. Another dimension of this coldness mindset involves learning how to handle conversations about money, pensions, or Social Security. In America, financial situations vary widely among seniors. Some might have generous retirement packages from their former employers, while others rely only on Social Security or part-time work. Some spent decades at well-paying jobs, contributing to 401k plans. Others had to juggle unpredictable careers or health challenges that made saving nearly impossible. When someone asks you about your finances, how big your monthly Social Security check is, how much pension you receive, or whether you have substantial savings, it's often best to respond vaguely or politely sidestep the topic. Boasting can hurt those who are less fortunate, and admitting financial hardship might open you up to judgment or pity you don't want. There's also the possibility that someone fishing for details has ulterior motives, such as pushing you into a shady investment deal. It's common courtesy to discuss finances discreetly. You might say something like, "I get by," or "I'm comfortable enough to manage," and leave it at that. The intricacies of your bank balance, your mortgage status, or your healthcare costs are personal. Let them remain that way. The same goes for discussing your children's accomplishments, or lack thereof. Maybe your children earn a high income, or maybe they're struggling and you help them out monthly. Either way, unsolicited conversation can strike a nerve. Some folks might be jealous if your children are high earners, while others might pity or judge if your children are unemployed or burdened by debts. Just like your own finances, your kids' situations needn't be widely broadcast. If someone insists on prying, "So how much does your daughter make as a lawyer?" A cheerful but non-specific answer like, "She's doing fine, thanks," generally suffices. Remember, preserving that little bit of coldness can spare you from a host of awkward or manipulative scenarios. Let's shift to the topic of your children's romantic choices or marital situations. It's very common for older parents to feel concern, curiosity, or anxiety when they see their son or daughter dating someone new. Perhaps you question the partner's suitability or worry about cultural differences. But once the child is an adult, you're no longer the decision maker. Of course, if they come to you seeking advice, you can offer your perspective gently. Yet outright endorsing or condemning their partner can lead to significant conflicts. If someone in your social circle asks, "So, what do you think of your son's fiancée? Is she good enough for him?" Consider a neutral response. Often these questions are less about genuine care for your family and more about inviting gossip. A moderate answer could be, "I trust my child's judgment, and I'm here if they need me." By refraining from oversharing, sharing your true feelings, positive or negative, you're preventing possible tension and giving your child the space to discover what works best for them. Should their relationships stumble, you can always be supportive, but that doesn't mean you have to take charge of their personal life. That, in essence, is the gentle coldness we're advocating. Sometimes, older adults face a sense of guilt if they don't immediately step up to help others. Whether it's friends, family, especially with physically demanding tasks, you might have a neighbor or a friend from church who says, "Could you help me move some furniture?" Or, "Do you mind coming over to help me fix the shingles on my roof?" If you've always been known as the helpful one, it can be difficult to say no. But with age, heavy lifting or strenuous chores can pose significant health risks. Slipping a disc, straining a muscle, or worse, might turn your golden years into a cycle of hospital visits. Consider carefully whether a task exceeds your physical limits. Being straightforward about your capabilities, "I'm sorry, but I'm not sure I can manage that safely," is far wiser than pushing yourself to the brink. You might recommend a professional moving service or suggest that they reach out to a local community group for assistance. A dash of coldness here isn't selfish. It's a practical step to ensure you don't injure yourself. Your well-being must take precedence. Beyond these major concerns, finances, children, physically demanding tasks, countless little inquiries can also sneak up on you. "Would you mind watching my grandkids for a week so I can go on vacation? Do you want to invest in my new home flipping business? What's your opinion on your neighbor's divorce?" The list goes on and on. When asked these questions, it's easy to feel pressured into providing an immediate response. Yet, sometimes the best answer is either no answer or a politely non-committal one. Older Americans, much like everyone else, can find themselves in the crossfire of family drama, community intrigue, or social obligations. Being cold or distant in this context doesn't make you uncaring. It simply offers a buffer that keeps your mind clear of needless worry. Time has a way of revealing answers or dissolving petty conflicts. Letting time and distance handle certain issues is often far wiser than inserting yourself into them hastily. Think of it this way. Each time you bite your tongue before responding to an intrusive question, you're giving yourself a chance to reflect and protect your peace. You're effectively saying, "My inner balance matters more than proving how accommodating or knowledgeable I can be." This does not imply you never help anyone or never share your viewpoint. Rather, it means you pause long enough to decide whether your assistance or opinion is truly needed and beneficial, or whether it might breed more complications. We all know that one rash comment can spark a misunderstanding that lingers for ages. By maintaining your composure and carefully weighing your words, you prevent unnecessary conflict and stress. In older age, true self-care isn't just about staying active, eating well, and taking medications on time, though these are crucial. It's also about managing emotional and mental well-being. That's often overlooked. We talk plenty about diet and exercise, but seldom do we mention that an overcommitted schedule, endless obligations, or meddling in others' affairs can be downright exhausting. By cultivating a sense of coldness, you create mental space. You allow yourself the freedom to indulge in quiet joys, reading your favorite novels, listening to soothing music, painting, spending time with a cherished pet, taking gentle walks in the park with a dear friend, or simply sitting in your backyard, sipping tea and admiring the birds. This mindful pace is precisely what fosters a calm mind and a healthier body. When it comes to new technology, smartphones, social media, and the like, many older adults feel compelled to keep up, to join every social media group, or to respond to every online invitation. While digital platforms make it easier to stay in touch with loved ones across the country, they can also pull you into endless conversations, heated debates, or even expose you to misinformation. Practicing a bit of coldness means choosing to engage with intention. You might decide to check in once a day or even just once a week, so you're not constantly pulled into online noise or emotional demands. It's absolutely possible to enjoy the advantages of technology without letting it dominate your time or peace of mind. As you adopt this mindset, some people may start to see you as distant or aloof. Don't let that unsettle you. Boundaries are often mistaken for coldness, when in truth, they serve as protection for your inner calm. You can gently let your loved ones know that you care about them deeply, but you're committed to a quieter, more centered way of living. You won't always be able to answer every message, attend every event, or get involved in every issue. Those who truly care for you will understand. And if someone pushes too hard for your time or energy, they're likely demonstrating exactly why your boundary is needed. It's important to remember that embracing a little coldness doesn't mean becoming unfeeling. It means balancing your natural warmth with a layer of self-respect. Many older adults have spent a lifetime nurturing others, raising children, working tirelessly, or caring for sick loved ones. Now is the time to prioritize your own well-being. You've earned the right to say no without guilt, to decline unnecessary conversations, and to preserve your emotional space. This shift may take some getting used to, especially if you're used to putting everyone else first. But this form of self-care benefits both you and those who love you. When you're rested and emotionally grounded, you're far more capable of offering real support when it truly counts. As we close, I encourage you to reflect on these ideas and talk them over with those you trust, be it family, close friends, or a supportive online community. Ask them if they've found strength in setting boundaries, or if they've had to navigate the discomfort of being misunderstood. Sharing these stories helps all of us grow. Maybe you have a personal story, like a time when declining a stressful favor brought unexpected relief. Or perhaps you're still learning how to say no without guilt. Opening up about these experiences creates space for mutual understanding and encouragement. In the end, we're all striving to age with grace, dignity, and peace of mind. If today's podcast resonated with you, please consider liking the episode, sharing it with someone who might benefit, and subscribing to the channel. Tap the notification bell so you'll be alerted when a new episode is released. Thank you for spending this time with me to reflect on life's later chapters. May we all move forward with just enough coldness, not to shut others out, but to preserve the warmth we share with those who truly matter. Take care, and until next time, stay well.